Picture the last funeral you attended. There was a coffin, probably flowers. Someone at the front spoke about the person who was gone. People wore black or close to it. Afterward, there was food, there were stories. And somewhere in the back of your mind, beneath the grief, you followed a script you had never been taught but somehow already knew. Now ask yourself, where did that script come from? The answer is not a church, not a culture, not even a civilization. The answer is older than language itself. It reaches back 300,000 years into the caves and savannas where your ancestors lived and died and did something extraordinary with the bodies of their dead. Something deliberate. Something that changes everything you think you know about what it means to be human. Death rituals did not begin with religion. They did not begin with writing or cities or priests. They began with people who looked at a body and refused to simply walk away. That refusal is the oldest thing about you. Archaeologist Paul Pettit has spent decades studying what he calls the mortuary record of early humans. His work, detailed in his book The Paleolithic Origins of Human Burial, argues that intentional burial was not a late development in human cognition. It was one of its earliest expressions. The evidence he and his colleagues have uncovered pushes deliberate mortuary practice back further than almost anyone expected. At a site called Cima de los Huesos in northern Spain, researchers found the remains of at least 28 individuals deposited deep inside a cave system in a location almost impossible to reach accidentally. The bones date back roughly 430,000 years. These were not modern humans. They were a predecessor species, Homo heidelbergensis, yet they appeared to have carried their dead to this place intentionally, not eaten them, not abandoned them, carried them into the dark. That is not instinct, that is meaning. But why? What drove a creature who spent every waking hour hunting, foraging, and surviving to stop and do something with no immediate survival value? Part of the answer lies in how your brain processes loss. Neuroscientist Mary Frances O'Connor, author of The Grieving Brain, has studied what happens in the human mind when someone close to you dies. She found that the brain does not simply accept the absence of a loved one. It continues searching. It anticipates their return. It keeps modeling them as present in a world that no longer contains them. Grief, she argues, is not weakness. It is the brain's attempt to update a map that took years to build and cannot be redrawn overnight. Your ancient ancestors felt this. They felt the absence of a person who had been in every mental model they had built of the world. The act of doing something with the body was not irrational. It was the brain externalizing an internal process it had no other way to complete. You bury because you cannot simply let go. Now consider what they actually did. In the Kafse cave in Israel, archaeologists found the 100,000-year-old burial of a young adult interred with the antlers of a deer deliberately placed across the body. Not food, not tools, a symbol, a gesture towards something beyond the practical. This is among the oldest known evidence of what researchers call grave goods, objects placed with the dead, not for the dead to use, but for reasons the living needed to perform. In the Shanidar cave in Iraq, a Neanderthal
वीडियोस बनाने हैं फिल्मोरा है ना।